Welcome, everyone, and happy Africa Day, happy Africa Week, happy Africa Month, happy Africa Year. Every day is Africa Day. I think now that we have, my name is Omar Omiyowe, editor-in-chief at Glacier, and we're very happy to have you here. Please share the link with your friends, invite them to join in because we're going to have an amazing conversation. Our speakers are very solid, very well-respected voices. I think now that we have three of our speakers, we can start and then, the others will join in and take it from there just so that we're able to keep to time and, enjoy today and be positioned to grow. Thank you, everyone. And get your questions ready and have a great time. Hashtag Glacier Roundtable Africa Day as well. Thanks.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Minomi, and I am the moderator for this session. I hope, like me, you have your pen and your notepads ready because our speakers are very knowledgeable in their various fields and they'll be sharing insights on the topic tapping into the global digital economy, how Africans can lead in tech, business, and immigration globally. So if you have any thoughts or hear anything that resonates with you, feel free to tweet it, tag our speakers, tag Glacier, and use the hashtag Glacier Roundtable. Dr. Finn is the founder and principal consultant at F&F Consultancy. Is a pioneering force in digital innovation, blending a PhD in artificial intelligence and machine learning with over 15 years of expertise to transform product development and business strategy. Having spearheaded the creation of over 30 high impact products that have generated $15 million across Europe and America, Dr. Finn is passionate about empowering professionals to excel in tech careers and guiding SMEs through seamless digital transformations. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Finn. And I'm going to read our next speaker's bio is Janet Machuka. Janet Machuka is a leading digital marketing consultant, speaker, and trainer with expertise in social media marketing, content creation, copywriting, influencer marketing, and digital strategy. With a strong background in journalism, communication, and PR, she has worked with Standard Media Group and Pin Africa. Janet is the founder of Africa Tweet Chat, a vibrant marketing community on X, reaching over 700 million users in 6 years. She's also the founder of ATC Digital Academy, an edtech platform for digital marketing courses, and also runs Sparks Corporate, a marketing agency serving local and global brands. Please a round of applause for Janet Machuka. And our third speaker, I think Mr. Oludayo has dropped off. So I'm going to go straight to the questions, and when our other speakers come in, I'll read their bios and then I'll ask them questions. So my first question is going to Dr. Finn. You've led the creation of products that have generated over $50 million globally. What mindset shifts are necessary for African professionals to succeed in global tech?
Hi, Minomi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Finn, I can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So yes, we live in a global economy now where a lot of things are shifting in terms of expectations within career industries. And when we look at Africa, there has to be a shift from the mindset, which starts with the local survival mindset of how to ensure that you get through the day, to more of a global value creation mindset, which means that you have to think beyond borders now, because social media and the internet and the rise of technology and innovation has made the world all connected, which means that it doesn't matter where you are, provided you can find the right value to provide to companies, the right pricing in terms of the skills that you can offer to them based on global standard, not based on just Nigeria or Africa, and actually solve real problems that people are willing to exchange money for. And you can do this using technology. And if you're able to get through that confidently, in a consistent manner and collaborate with stakeholders in the industries, both locally and internationally, be able to not just build products or build solutions or thrive in the technology space within Africa, but able to export your knowledge without necessarily even leaving the continent. And that's one of the key things that we focus on at F&F, with helping people understand not just how to get the skill set, understand what value means and how to transcend that values, both locally and internationally, to be able to build a career or build a business.
Thank you very much, Dr. Finn. I really like what you said about thinking beyond borders. And with the age of social media, we can reach anywhere without leaving where we are. So my next question is going to Jenny Machuka, and is how can online communities and forums support African professionals in building their personal brand and network in the digital space?
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing amazing and fantastic. I can see familiar faces on this conversation that I really know. Hi to you everyone. On that particular question, I'll answer it with something that I love doing that I've been building over the past 8 years. I started a Twitter community called Africa to Chat, hashtag Africa to Chat, when hashtags were really the thing. And when community chats were the thing, where you just send out a question and then people will give their own answers. And the reason why I started that, I was looking at how can I be able to tap into the different voices in the digital marketing space so that we can support each other in growth and also in conversations, not forgetting that in the digital space, there's so much that is happening to a point that it's very hard to keep up with all the trends. Right now, if you look at the AI trends, everything is just popping every single day. It's very hard to keep up. But when you have a community that is Pan-African, it gives you an opportunity to understand what are South African digital marketers doing? What are the Nigerian digital marketers doing at the moment? What is Kenya like when you talk about the digital economy? And not just about that, also beyond, because sometimes the people you attract in the community conversations are from outside Africa and they really want to learn and understand how is Africa when it comes to the online landscape and the particular interest they have. So that alone gives you the opportunity to now collaborate. And I think that is something that I have been loving since. And anytime somebody requests me to be part of a conversation on X, I'm always like, yes, please add me in. Because collaboration gives you opportunities that can showcase you as an individual, as a powerful voice, and gives you an opportunity to share your knowledge. Not just your knowledge, you give yourself an opportunity to express your expertise. You know, you can say you have 10 skills, 20 skills, but the question is, how often do people really interact with that skill? If it's conversations like speaking, engagement, yes, maybe you charge for speaking, but people are not going to know you're the right speaker if they can't listen to you. So how can you showcase that expertise in terms of what do you do and how you talk about it? Looking at personal brand aspect of social media, this is the best space for me to get opportunities. Fun fact, when you're part of a community that supports each other, that supports the people who are joining, high chances are people are going to give you an opportunity. The reason why we show up like this, even if we don't say it, we are marketing ourselves honestly. And through that marketing, we are leaving our names in your mind. And the next time people are going to ask, oh, Jeanette, oh, maybe they won't even ask me. They will be asking Oma. Oma, we're looking for a lady from Kenya who can help us understand the digital landscape in that particular country. You'll be like, I know someone, I know Jeanette. Talk to her. From your end, you might be thinking, I'm just referring somebody because I remember them from where I was. But you don't know that opportunity can give them a chance to get something we call a gig. You know, that's how we usually get gigs from time to time. And then something else, looking at the global exposure. Conversations like this online, you can't gatekeep. You can't create a boundary. You can't say I'm a Kenyan. You can't say I'm a Nigerian. It's everyone fits in and everyone is important. So it becomes like a community that is global, a community that expresses themselves on a global stage. Forums like this and spaces like this are the reason to why we show up every single day. Because yesterday I might be engaging with the 360 digital, and that is Digipreneur. But today I'm engaging with a totally different person that I've never met in my life, never met on X. That is Dr. Finn Ditimi. Hi, how are you? And I'm glad to be part of your audience, and I hope you can be able to collaborate and engage more on such conversations. This alone is a chance for me to give my personal brand more voice, more amplification, because every single time you support each other in such conversations like this, it's a chance for us to meet new people. And the reason to why we usually say that personal branding doesn't have a break is because it's your story, and every single time you need to add something into that story. You might repeat it 200 times, but who told you? The same people are listening to you over and over again. There are different people who are joining. So for me, from a personal branding perspective, I usually say this. This is your story. Unless somebody mutes your mic, please talk about it. And it should not have an end. It should not have a full stop. It should not have even a comma. Express yourself in any community you find yourself in, and in any way that you can support others to grow. The best way to grow on social media as a personal brand is help others. That's the best way to help yourself. And for me, I'm helping others by actually showing up and talking to you. Over to you, Omar.
Thank you very much, Janet. That was so insightful. You can't gatekeep conversations, like you said. One of our speakers has joined the room, so I'm going to quickly introduce her and then ask her a question. She's Fiona Kamikaze, all the way from Rwanda. She's the head of marketing and communications at I&M Bank Rwanda, and a corporate communication advisor for various companies in Rwanda. She has a wealth of experience in communication, talent advocacy, and customer experience, having worked in the education, telecommunication, and banking sector. In addition to her professional pursuits, Fiona is a social activist, part-time poet, and political enthusiast. Please, a round of applause for Fiona. And I'm going to dive straight into our question. Having worked across multiple sectors, how has storytelling and communication, or the lack thereof, shaped Africa's presence in the global economy?
Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to apologize for joining late. I was held in another meeting. Thank you. When I joined
I
Janet,
am not sure that Fiona's mic is on.
It's on.
Because it's
I can
just
hear
showing
you.
she's a listener.
Oh,
No.
she's speaking
Okay.
now.
Oh, sorry. That's not good.
hi Omar, I can hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Hello, hello.
I don't know if any of the speakers want to confirm that they can hear Fiona, because I can
Yes,
hear
I
her.
can hear Fiona. Yes.
Okay, please go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you very much, Dr. Finn. I was apologizing for joining late, but to immediately start, I think people can hear me. Thank you very much for the question. I believe that the Africa global economic narrative has long suffered from underrepresentation and misrepresentation. And this is not necessarily due to a lack of innovation or impact, but because of a gap in strategic storytelling. When I joined the call, Janet was talking about branding, connection, and I think that consistent communication is very important. But I'll say that this is beginning to shift as countries, businesses increasingly recognize the power of storytelling and shaping their own narratives. I am from Rwanda, and I think I'll try to use very many examples about my countries and my own experience, and I'm sure some of my fellow panelists and our listeners will gain some insights from it. Rwanda stands out as a compelling example of how deliberate storytelling and communication can transform a country's global standing. I'm sure some of you or many of you have heard about Visit Rwanda, the Visit Rwanda campaign. This was launched in 2018, if I remember correctly. In 2018, the country started a partnership with football clubs, with branding at different events, sports events, We recently added another team. We had Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, recently Atletico de Madrid, and we League, all these just showing a glimpse of what Rwanda is. Not only just branding the T-shirts or having the Visit Rwanda name or website pop up in the stadium, but also the story, the experience that it comes with being associated with these brands. This effort has not only enhanced the visibility of the country, but it has also translated into tangible economic impact. I was reading the RDB annual report last month, and the tourism revenue grew from 400 million in 2017 to 640 something million in 2024. This marks a 48 increase in just 7 years. And this is just looking at tourism. Rwanda is also positioning itself as a hub for meetings, conferences, exhibitions. But for the country to attract that, they need to tell a story. Everyone knows Rwanda as a maybe like as a post-conflict country. When you tell us the story of Rwanda now, the recovery, and people have a forward-looking people start thinking about it as a forward-looking destination for business, for innovation, for tourism, for cultural sharing. I think that communication becomes not only a soft skill, but you start looking at it as an economic strategy. So Rwanda is proof that when you invest in telling a story with clarity, with confidence, with pride, the world begin to listen and to listen different. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Really liked what you said about communication, not just being a soft skill. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker who has just joined us, and then I'll ask him his question. If you've been on Twitter long enough, when I mention his name, you'll know him. So Waka Waka Doctor is a seasoned medical professional who has practiced for over a decade in the field of psychiatry across 4 different countries. With a deep passion for travel and migration, he has explored 78 countries and 118 cities, living or working in at least 5 of them. The name Waka Waka Doctor is an informal, affectionate term coined due to his extensive travels and his background as a medical doctor. It perfectly embodies his dual passion for both medicine and adventure, making him an authentic voice in the world of migration and travel. He's the #1 travel and migration influencer in Nigeria. Please a round of applause for Waka Waka Doctor. I'm going to ask you your first question. What are some misconceptions or barriers that Africans may face when trying to access the global digital economy, and how can these challenges be addressed? I don't know if you're speaking.
He's showing us a listener, not a speaker, so maybe we need to
Oh,
request.
he just dropped out because he was a speaker. Okay, I've sent him an invite. Waka Waka Doctor, do you want me to repeat the
Hello, can
question
you
or
hear
you're
me
good?
now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to everyone who's joining tonight from far and wide, and including other speakers as well. To answer your question, when we talk about the global digital economy, in my head, I think we're talking about remote working, tech innovation, e-commerce, finance, and all that stuff. And I think the greatest misconception out there is that Africa is playing a catch up, basically, and that the rest of the world is far ahead of us and we're trying to catch up. While there might be reasons for this, but that's not the full picture. One of the major barriers Africans face is usually this myth of inadequacy. You know, there's a general assumption that African talent isn't up to global standards, you know. But we know that this is not true because across the continent, from Rwanda, like my friend said, to Nigeria, to South Africa, even to Kenya. You've got, Africans who are building world-class applications, running global businesses, leading artificial intelligence, cloud computing, blockchain, fintech, and the likes. It's not about the ability, it's more about access. I think that's another one. Access is another barrier. And it's because African leaders don't sort of invest in infrastructure. So that's the main issue. Many parts of Africa still struggle with, internet access, electricity, digital tools, and without these basic, things, it's very difficult to participate in remote work and even build tech products. So that these are some of the issues. I think another one that might be important is financial exclusion and also regulatory barriers, because you have the fact that some international companies, they shy away from African markets because they feel like, oh, navigating the African terrain is so complex. There's a lot of instability in Africa. No, but in fact, if you go on Upwork and what's the other one now? Upwork and Fiverr, you would find that many talented African freelancers are denied jobs just because they live in Nigeria. Once they ask you where you are and you say Nigeria, the client is gone. This guy is a Yahoo boy or something like that. So what's the solution? I think that the governments of several countries, 54 different countries across Africa, must learn to invest in local infrastructure and digital literacy. That's number one. And I think this is a message as well for global platforms. They must start treating Africa as the real deal, as the vibrant market that it is, as the talent hub, not just a charity case. They must begin to support African payment options. They must begin to hire more African talents. And we also as Africans need to start telling our success stories as well. Okay, so these are some of the things that I think will be important. I hope I answered the question. Thank you very much.
Yes, you did. You answered it and then some. I really liked what you said about treating Africa as a talent hub and not a charity. So our final speaker is in the room. I'm going to quickly introduce him and then ask him his question. Dr. Oludayo Shokunbi is a Nigerian-born electrical engineer and entrepreneur with a PhD in electrical engineering from Concordia University, Canada, specializing in 5G and technology. With over 10 years of experience in IT and engineering, he has published more than 30 papers and patents on millimeter wave antennas and metamaterials. He is the founder and CEO of Japa Consult, an academic consulting firm operating in Nigeria and Canada. Since 2021, Japa Consult has helped over 1,000 clients secure admissions, scholarships, and international job relocations. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Oludayo. So, Dr. Oludayo,
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
thank you for joining us. So, my question for you is, African professionals often face unconscious bias in global hiring. How can today's African proactively address stereotypes and showcase value anywhere in the world?
Okay, thank you very much. First, apologies for joining late. I tried to join with my main undo, but I don't know that Twitter Space cannot be done on web because I usually remove Twitter on my on my phone because of this. So whenever I need to talk on Space, I have to install it back. Trying to install it back, X is seeing it as malicious, as somebody's trying to impersonate my account, so, and I don't want it to be blocked, so I had to stop. So I had to join with this, the business I'm doing. So yes, thank you very much. So, with the issue of stereotypes, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do about it, but nobody lives what work. If you are relevant, nobody cares about where you are coming from, the color of your skin, and your background. The only way Africans can, break that deadlock of stereotypes is to become relevant and to become extremely needed, such that nobody cares about what language you speak, what color of your skin, your experiences, and all of that. And in terms of global hiring, most people actually don't really care about where you are coming from. That is always important in politics when people try to divide Nigerians, or sorry, I say Nigerians, Africans. So it's an African space. The issue of where you are coming from, your race, your ethnicity, your religion, your sexual orientation, always come into play whenever it's time for politics and whenever it's time to divide, or when somebody is using his power to to rule the people. But Africans generally, wherever you are qualified, it's really hard to to take you. Let me give you an example. I'm in Montreal. Montreal is the French. Montreal is in Quebec, and Quebec is the French-speaking part of Canada. I finished my PhD in Montreal. I got a fully funded scholarship to study for my PhD. And for people who don't know, that's why I do a lot of Japa. I call it Japa. I post a lot of stuff on my handles to tell people that they can also get their masters and PhD for free. I didn't pay a dime. Everything was sponsored because of first God and because of my ability to break the stereotypes. When you are done here, if you cannot, one of the constraints of staying in Quebec is that if you cannot, you may find it hard to get jobs because you'll have to speak. But what I found out is that if you are extremely, extremely, extremely needed, if your skill is so good that it's almost not nobody can do anything about the job. I've seen people got jobs who don't even speak French, but because of their skills, they're able to break that barrier. So I'm using that as an example that anywhere we are as Africans, breaking the stereotypes is not the problem. You just find out what they need in that area and make sure that you have the solution to it and you are most needed. Once they find out that you are the solution to the problems, nobody cares about where you are coming from anymore. So I always tell Africans or anybody who has color skin of the black, we don't have anything to prove to anyone actually. But we need to do times two of what others are doing. Why? Because by default, because of the color of our skin, people see us somehow. They see us, there is this unconscious biases. There is this, they don't call it racism again, because of the way the world, as in quote, trying to defend, the word racism. So, but it's still subtle racism everywhere. But it's now subtle, so, but if you make yourself really, really, really relevant, and if you acquire the skills that is needed in that area, of course, nobody will give you that kind of treatment. For example, while I was doing my PhD, I was also involved in project management in Scrum Master. I did a certification, because of my background in electrical engineering. So I moved into IT project management to Scrum Master, trying to do projects. Everywhere I've applied to, everybody sees that my profile is impressive. Why will you finish a PhD in electrical engineering and then become a doctor and then switch to project management and Scrum and still become the best, write certifications, win? In interviews, I just blast it because these are the things that I have been doing for a long time. I just explained to them I've been a project manager even while being an engineer. So just of opportunities will always open if you are relevant. If you have the relevant skills, that is needed in that sphere, in that area. So that's the only way we can break that stereotype, by being needed, by being solutions provided. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. You said be so good they can't say no to you. So I'm going to jump straight to our next question, and I will begin with Dr. Finn. Dr. Finn, with your experience in AI and machine learning, how can African professionals position themselves at the forefront of this evolving space?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Nice to meet all the speakers and everyone that's joining this session. So, kind of a good segue for what Dr. Leah was talking. I'm actually based in Montreal and never left. So, and I still don't speak French. And just like he mentioned, if you have the right skill set, people will pay you. From Montreal, I've worked around the world, from Europe to North America, Africa, and within Canada, and still based here offering value to people. So when people talk about AI, there seems to be a myth that people have when it comes to technology, that you have to have some specialized skill set, or tech is its own industry. Tech is an enabler of any industry. And the same misconception is being taken into AI, which means that you need to have certain type of experience on AI. But AI is not a standalone, and technology is not a standalone. you have to first understand or master foundational skill sets that people need in their business. For example, like the lawyer said, project management, or another of our speakers said, the digital marketing space, or media and all of that. And then you find the right way to apply AI to those fields or to those industries. For example, in the customer service space now, IKEA was able to cut down a lot of their costs, saving them millions of dollars by automating some basic information. So IKEA is a company that you can buy furnitures or stuff for, and you can self-assemble it, but some people are losing screws or having basic questions, and that was costing them hours, thousands of hours daily just to answer things that they can be able to utilize AI to just provide direction. I want to get this screw, or this screw is missing, or this information is missing. There are a lot of companies that do it within the healthcare space. Right now, you're able to access doctors remotely. Within the fintech space, we're seeing how the world's becoming smaller due to the digital economy. Formerly, you want to send money to Africa. It was quite difficult. You probably need to find somebody over there and then find someone over here that needs the same amount or the same currency. It was a complicated process over 10 plus years ago to move money. But now we're seeing how technology, and with AI is basically just learning from information that it knows. So if you have the right systems in place and you have information, then AI will be able to create additional information. So what is important now is context. What are the skill sets that the world needs that Africa can provide to them? I was seeing that globally, that people are willing to pay 6 figures in different currencies depending on the value you could give, and that's some of the areas that we'll focus. And how did I start off F&F Consultants? I've been in the tech space all my life, from undergraduate to master's to a PhD in computer science, and focusing on AI and ML before it became popular. And I had a doctorate over 5 years in AI because there was one problem I wanted to solve. And what was that problem? How can business use the information that they know already to be able to better serve their clients? That's one of the areas that a lot of businesses were forgetting about. Focusing on let's get more clients, but forgetting on how do we retain our clients? How do we increase the amount of things that they buy? And now we are all familiar with recommendation system, where you go to websites to buy things and they recommend other things that other people have bought to you, saying people bought these things and you're likely to want to purchase them. And going through the text, we realized that there was a need, or there was a skill gap. Multiple rooms that I've been to, there were very few people that looked like me. And it wasn't a lack of skill set, it was a lack of information and a lack of position. Africans are one of the most talented and hardworking people everywhere I've been. But if you do not have the right network and you do not have the right information, then how do you position yourself? And that's how the training part of F&F were born, for us to help people learn 6-figure jobs with skill set they already have, while position them to know the tools, whether technological tools or AI tools, that will help you be able to grow. And which led to us even saying this year, why don't we just have a digital economy conversation called Tech Force Connect? For us to just come talk to experts, because one of the easiest way to grow or position yourself is to be able to see someone that is already in the future that you want to be in. And if you're not seeing people that are vice presidents, you're not seeing people that are CEOs of companies, you're not seeing people that are leaders that look like you, then how are you able to plan or understand or gain from their knowledge base, or be able to network yourself or position and build a career path together? About 5-6 years ago, I sat in a room of over 20 plus tech leaders that were all black from different parts of Canada and the US. And one thing was very clear there. There was a lack of a network. There was a lack of opportunities. There was a lack of people who knew what they needed to do in order for them to be able to grow their career. But not because they did not have the skill set. They just didn't understand the translation of how people position themselves to do that. And now we're in a scenario where we're seeing that influencers are growing, digital marketing is growing, and personal branding is also growing, as Jenna mentioned. And even like our other speaker, Fiona, mentioned about even countries and different tourisms and all of that now need to be rebranded to position it to show value. And storytelling is now becoming more key. And one thing I realized after mentoring and helping people transition into tech, running to hundreds of thousands, even teaching in the university, It was never the smartest person who got the opportunity. It was the person that was able to tell their story clearly and sell themselves for the opportunity, whether it was a gig, whether it was a contract, whether it was a job opportunity. So that myth, as Dr. Ludayo said, is that Africans are least qualified. It's now being shattered. And we can even take it forward, especially in the fintech space. We are way ahead of other countries, even the first world countries, North America and Europe, in terms of technology. You can do transfers within Nigeria, Ghana, multiple countries in seconds, but it's still not there yet, which means that we have the technology. But what about the context? So to wrap up, how do we now take AI and take the skill set that we have and connect them? If I'm a digital marketer, what are the AI tools that can help me? If I want to become a project manager and I want to be able to build a sustainable career, and AI is one of the areas, how do I position myself? And that's one of the things that we're passionate about, and personally, any opportunity I get to have conversation about digital economy, I always want to have this, because right now there are billions of dollars being exchanged in Africa within the digital economy because people understood the key thing. People pay you for value, and the only way you can grow your value is to increase your skill set, because tools are supposed to help skill sets, and AI is just a tool to help you improve the amount of delivery that you can give. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Finn, for also reminding us to grow our skill set. So I'm going to ask the next speaker a question, Janet Machuka. What role can social media play in amplifying African voices and stories in the global digital economy?
Hi, you might actually hear some noise in the background. Someone is too clingy today and is trying to type on the laptop. So bear with me kindly. So when you're talking about the amplification of African stories and voices in the global space, especially on the digital aspect of it, I look at Wodemaya. I know some of you know quite a very good number of YouTubers who have tried to tell African stories from a point of where we actually never knew. Talk about Namibia, talk about Malawi. Some of the people will not even tell you anything about Malawi. But some of us, because we love watching Wodemaya, we can learn a lot, we can understand a lot that is happening in that country, and that is just one of the best way and authentic way to amplify the professionals. I remember the first question we were talking about was dealing with professionals and personal branding. Imagine you are an expert in something, but you don't get an opportunity to share your story online because you don't have that audience. That is where content creators come in. The likes of Wodemaya, the likes of Tayo, the likes of there's other ladies also from Kenya. I think her name is Wata, something like that. So these people are actually giving us a chance to understand Africa from a different perspective. It's not just about us having conversations alone. We see it, we believe it, and then we also want to travel and go and enjoy that place. Fiona talked about how they were able to use the stories in Rwanda to actually change the way people view the country, the way the country's position is positioned also in the international landscape. Talking about every time I know most of the people used to think when you visit Rwanda, maybe you go to the memorial place. That's the only place you can maybe check out. But look at the kind of things that we have learned, that we can go and have fun, enjoy nature, enjoy the people of Rwanda. It's just from the content creators, it's just from the stories that are being used. So for me, when it comes to the digital landscape aspect of the stories, I look at the people who already got that opportunity and they have gone forward to now introduce voices that were never heard, or giving opportunities to the voiceless to be seen, to be heard, to be listened to. And that is changing the entire perspective about Africa. It's no longer about the European coming to Africa to just watch the Masai Mara wildlife, or even the wildebeest when they are moving from Serengeti to Masai Mara National Park. It's no longer about that. It's more than that. And even if you look at even the digital landscape aspect of it, in terms of marketing, in terms of AI development. Look at how we are telling our stories using that. There's one lady on LinkedIn I've been following for a while, and I love how she's using AI to tell the African story, the ancient African story. And sometimes I'm like, how did you how did you actually think about creating such kind of content when you feel like we are getting into the Gen Z generation alpha, generation beta now that it's coming up? How will you actually think about starting that conversation? Yet everyone doesn't want to talk about the Asian aspect of it, but it's fascinating. Why? Most of the younger generation, they have not grown with the grandmothers and the grandpas in the village. So they are missing a lot of nice stories, amazing stories. Just imagine you as an African trying to use now the new technology that I think it was Japan who was talking about it, the AI. I hope I'm right. The way and I think it was Dr. Diteni. Yeah. The way we are telling our stories is more elaborate, it's more easy to consume, and it's tapping into the different audiences. Funny thing, let me tell you the funniest thing that is happening in Kenya. I don't know if this is also happening in your country. In Kenya, TikTok is known globally for Gen Z, but the fun bit of it is that most times you will see our mothers 60 years plus on TikTok just having fun, enjoying their time, and maybe sharing just simple things. And they're actually getting a lot of engagement. I know some stories might not be like you sit with people in a podcast or you go shoot a very nice video. Some of the African stories are silent, but they communicate. So at the end of the day, I feel like the digital aspect of it has given everyone an opportunity to share their story. And since it can be saved, it can be checked out even after some years, it gives the younger generation a chance to learn what we used to do on the digital platforms, even if we grow old. So for me, I'll say that the storytelling that Fiona was talking about is really doing very well on how we are amplifying our stories. And also, I feel like Africa has that voice now to speak up. Last week, I don't know if some of you were able to come across this conversation on LinkedIn. People were talking about the investment space, the venture capital space in Africa and startups. You find people were so angry that you'll find so many startups in Africa, they are not headed by the Africans themselves. The solutions are for Africa, but the CEOs are not African. Why so? Does it mean that we have inferiority complex? Does it mean that we are not thinking ourselves as worth? Does it mean that we don't know how to tell our stories better? Yes, to some extent, yes. But the other side will be no. Why? Maybe it's the trust, that the global trust that now people think if your skin is whiter, you can be trusted. But as one of the speakers said earlier, it's very funny that sometimes when Kenyans, not even Africa, so most of the content, I think they used to be academic writers, the bloggers, the ones who get employed and be paid in peanuts, and populated a lot of amazing stories, a lot of amazing tech articles, which are currently used to train AI, are from Africa. And that is why sometimes when you do something and then it's genuinely your thoughts that you put down, but the moment you run it on AI, it will tell you 99% written by AI. But maybe that's not it. It's because Africans are really smart. Only that we sold our story. We didn't own it. And because I understand the kind of society we live in, the kind of monetary aspect that we are looking at, how we are viewed globally too. I know it's nauseating to think about it that way. But at the same time, I feel like at the moment, having such conversations gives us an opportunity to rethink how we tell our stories without feeling less confident and without feeling that we are not worth it or we can't be trusted. I will talk about this issue over and over again, but I don't want to take or rather eat into other speakers' time. Allow me to take care of this one.
Thank you very much, Janet. for that response. So I'm going to ask Fiona Kamikaze. Next question. Many young Africans in the diaspora face identity and confidence challenges. How can effective communication help them to break into and thrive in the global digital ecosystem?
Okay, I think I'm connected. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you. Janet, say hi to the little one. But let me offer you a bit of comfort. Someone here in Rwanda was joking in Kinyarwanda that he was afraid he might see his mother-in-law dancing on TikTok. I was initially concerned that it might be a Rwanda-specific thing due to the Connect Rwanda campaign that is going on. Connect Rwanda is a campaign that is driving smartphone penetration in Rwanda. I even asked my sister the other day, is TikTok the easiest platform to use? Because I don't get it. But yeah, so don't worry, it's everywhere. Back to the question, and I think this will be a very good continuation to what Janet was trying to say or was alluding to. I feel like many young Africans, especially in the diaspora, but even on the continent, struggle with identity and confidence. But this is often due to history misrepresentation and very limited positive narratives about the continent. I would say that earlier generations sometimes distance themselves from Africa, whether out of necessity or survival, which contributed to this disconnect. So I believe that storytelling has the power to rebuild that bridge. I'll share a personal story. My parents were born as refugees, but despite fleeing persecution, my grandparents always spoke of our country, Rwanda, with so much pride and hope to my parents, and on both sides, my mom and dad's side. Their stories painted a vision of belonging, of resilience, of possibility, even though they were in this other country as refugees. So these narratives inspired my parents' generation and other young people of their generation to reclaim and rebuild this nation. They are the ones who stopped the genocide against the Tutsi in the country. So I'm not sure this would have been the case if they had not been spoken so fondly of their motherland. And back to the global digital ecosystem today, effective communication can serve the same purpose for young Africans in the diaspora, but also us on the continent. The example that Janet was sharing, I followed that discussion in Kenya, but platforms like this one we are using to connect, they offer us a powerful tool to shape identity, to build confidence, and to connect with global audiences. I'm talking to Nigerian, Janet is in Kenya, we have someone in Montreal. So it's something that we Africans, if we continue to share our authentic stories, and our perspectives, sharing what worked in Rwanda, what worked in Kenya, what worked in Nigeria, what worked in Ghana. I believe young Africans will manage to counter the stereotypes. We elevate our talent. We establish strong digital footprint. I think it's Janet who spoke about it also earlier. But also reflect on who we truly are. I think I'll also share a bit on what Dr. Oludeun, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, who's in Montreal. He spoke about skills. Skills it's something that is very crucial. But so is using these skills to communicate effectively. It can be thought leadership. It can be content creation. It can be. We have very many skills that we have, but we need to not use these platforms not just to fit in, but to stand out. I think effective communication. That way, effective communication can become a pathway to visibility, but also access to opportunities that might otherwise remain out of reach today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fiona. So I'm going to be asking Waka Waka Doctor his next question. As someone who has experience navigating international opportunities, what advice would you give to young Africans looking to leverage digital platforms to access the global markets? Waka Waka Doctor, I don't know if you
Hi.
can hear me.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's happening with my network, whether it's my network or the platform itself. I'm not sure why it keeps bouncing
Taking
out.
you.
Yeah. To answer your question, well, from my experience, and for anyone who's looking to move or travel or use digital platforms to access global markets, like you said. I just have a few things that I'll probably like to say. Number one is that you should, as an African trying to achieve that, you should try and build credibility. Remember that when you asked your first question, I did talk about, if you have an account on Fiverr or Upwork, for instance, you have, people who would refuse to give you jobs just because you come from a certain part of the world. And I think that if you're able to build credibility, whether you're a designer on Fiverr or you're using Instagram or Shopify, I think the best currency is trust. So show your work, be proud to show the work you do, be consistent, deliver value, and that is your CV. Your digital footprint is your CV to the rest of the world. Another thing is leverage platforms, different platforms, leverage them wisely. Use Instagram, Twitter or X where we are. Use Instagram. The biggest one is YouTube, or one of the biggest ones is YouTube. Showcase your skills. Use LinkedIn to connect as well. These tools are very powerful if used with a lot of intention. And also be financial ready. Be financial ready. Understand global payment systems, like Wise, for instance. Some people use cryptocurrency, whatever works. Know how to receive, and manage foreign income, legally and very efficiently. Another thing is continue to learn. A lot is changing in the digital space, cloud computing, AI, a lot is changing. So be willing to learn, okay? Because the space evolves very fast. So take free courses online, follow people online that can task your brain, stay updated. I think that as someone who's trying to navigate the global market, your skills are your superpower, so you have to sharpen them. And I would also advise that you think beyond borders, okay? Don't build only for your street, build for the world. Don't just build for your small village or your small community, build for the world. Whatever you create should be valuable to someone in Malawi, and someone in Fiji, and someone in Samoa, and someone in Tokyo, or in Marrakesh in Morocco. So everybody should be able to benefit from it. There's something I saw somewhere. I can't remember where I quite saw it, but it said something like, have local roots but possess global wings. Have local roots but possess global wings. So think beyond borders. And for an African, I also think that resilience is a good quality to have. You would face a lot from, trying to set up to delivery to, communication to accessing, basic, infrastructure that would help your work, be productive, but you need to show resilience. You are not the problem. Just keep pushing, and hopefully the system will catch up with what you have, the value you're providing. I also saw this in a book that I read. It said something like, I'm just going to paraphrase, something like, you're not just using the internet, you're part of the internet economy. Okay, so your talent, your creativity, your voice deserves to be heard globally. So don't be afraid, just push, just keep doing it, and one day the fruits will come out. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that response. If I'm going to take one question from the audience, so if you have a question, you can just raise up your hand and I'll accept you as a speaker. Okay. If there are no questions, we're going to dive to the third question. for our speakers, and I'm going to go back to Dr. Finn. Many immigrants struggle with transitioning into tech careers. What practical first steps would you advise for someone starting from scratch abroad?
Yeah, thanks, Minomi. So one of the biggest problem people have about tech is that because of the illusion or the virality of coding roles, people do not realize that there are so many roles within the tech space. So what I always do is, because if you're either new, just graduated, or already working, or trying to transition in, you already have some existing skills of some sort. A lot of soft skills that people want, and people in tech are dying to have people work in certain roles that have this skill set. I kind of envelope this under what we call non-coding tech roles, like project management, like Japa Consult mentioned, product management, business analysis, Scrum Master. Nowadays, we're seeing what's happening with social media management, virtual assistant roles, operational roles, and there are many other roles within the tech space. And when people even think about that, they forget that yes, we have marketing, but we now have what we call digital marketing becoming a big area, because instead of physically going to sell your products, you can now sell online on social media and all of that. And companies are looking for people that will help them run ads, help them manage clients, even sales role, people to sell their product for them. So it's more important now to actually understand the tools that are needed for the role. So first thing first, what have you done previously? What are those skill sets that you already have? What are the roles in tech that match in there so that you can hit the ground running with already 60% of the skill sets already acquired in your existing career? Then what are the tools that they're using there? Then you want to take a more focused course to understand. That's one of the things we recommend. There's some people that are self-learners so they can go through things themselves. There's some people that need mentorship and coaching to keep them accountable. We provide both type of trainings also to say if your approach is you need somebody to keep you accountable and coach you. But what is more important, no matter the tools that you learn, you have to practically enforce them within a project or within an actual delivery or a simulated delivery, because that's what is important. People are paying you for value, not to use tools. So if you don't know how to use the tools in valuable places within their company, for example, let's say you're a project manager, you probably should know how to use task management or project management tools like Jira, Trello, Asana, and there are many others out there, Monday.com, are becoming popular. These tools are just vehicles. So if you do not know how to apply it to solve a problem for a company, because now there's the myth that tech is an easy place to just jump into as busted, because companies are realizing that some people are coming in to learn on the job, which yes, should be okay. But now with the shrink within the global digital economy in terms of positions available, companies want you to have testimonials or a portfolio that you have done it somewhere. So it's either you've worked somewhere previously, or if you're transitioning in, you've worked on a simulated project or intern or worked with people to help you acquire it and actually deliver it and get a professional and mentor with something else of to support you to go through that. And then joining a community. Back in the days, you could just set up your LinkedIn properly and positions will come to you. But now we have a lot of jobs that are not on LinkedIn. During my career, till I moved up to become an executive and started my own company, most of my leadership roles, nobody knew they were available because they were not posted. It was people who have heard me talk, somewhere have done something, somewhere delivered value, or someone in my network that was offered a position that wasn't available that reached out to say, I know someone that had this credibility, which ties back to what Janet and Fiona has mentioned with regards to personal branding. People know what you do, people know the value you've able to give. So now it's not just enough to have the skill set, you also need to network, whether on social like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, to understand, and also volunteer. It's not every time you're going to get paid for many opportunities. I've seen a lot of people, including myself, helping to solve a small problem that will take a few hours as a led to opening doors or gigs of opportunities that has fetched me 6 figures
Dr.
of a
Finn, I'm
payment.
sorry, I want to quickly interrupt you here. You mentioned six figures. Before I know that we're going to have Dr. Oludayo come on to talk immediately. So briefly, before he comes on to answer his next question, I'd like for you to quickly talk to us practical. I know the work that your company has done to get some people to get six-figure jobs, remote jobs, whether they're in Nigeria or in Canada, in other parts of, the world. They've gotten some six-figure jobs in tech, even though many of them are not like that. We just, with this Africa Day, we want to give practical tips. What are some things that you have done or that you people can do or that people need to do to get these remote jobs, especially whether they're within Africa or they're in diaspora, for our African immigrants or those here? Just some quick practical things that you can share. Then I'm sure Minomi takes over and Dr. Oludayo would speak.
Yes, so thanks for that question. The world has become smaller with the digital economy, and companies now are willing to employ you provided you can give value and it doesn't matter where you are. And the myth about Africa being not a place to invest in is gradually shifting to even see that Africa is actually the only continent that's having a rise of investors looking towards it. And also Africa is also becoming a position where people want to hire from. But what they care about is value. So for example, we had people in Lagos, we have people in other countries that can give certain value in terms of particular roles. So social media management, project management, product management. And they already have certain skill set. They worked in the banking sector, so they understand how to negotiate, how to communicate, and they've assessed this skill set but realize that they don't know how to use the tools that is the global standards for this role. And that's where we come in to help them partner to give them this skill set, to train them in a more proctored program with structures, with practical experience to work on live projects that are global standards that now you can now use within resumes and even become a portfolio that you can present that is verifiable. Because nowadays it's about what you have done before you're looking for a job and not what you're going to do for them when they employ you. So it's about proof now. So building the testimonials, building the skill set, and also not just even just doing the job, but actually building the network. So we've had people now who supported them, who reaching out to recruiters, reaching out to hiring managers, and also connecting with people that are doing the jobs they're already doing. Because a lot of companies, the first thing they do when they're hiring is not to post the job, is to inform the internal team, saying, we have these positions available. Do you have people or know somebody? And the person that they've been chatting with or commenting on their posts on LinkedIn or engaging with them talking about these roles will be the first person that comes to mind. And that has helped a lot of people also close opportunities. And same thing has happened with students we've had in the US, students who have in Canada, UK, and different European countries, even Australia, because people now are looking for who can hit the ground running and add value to their company. And we focus on helping you majorly on non-coding roles because you have 70% of the skill set, train you on the tools you need, work on a practical project end to end and a simulated situation of a live project that becomes delivered and hosted. So that at the end of it, you can show them that I've been part of a team that built a software, I've been part of a team that delivered a particular product for a company that is now not just a standard, but even exceeds the processes that are used in LinkedIn, Shopify, and all of that in building products today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Finn. Dr. Oludayo, my question for you is, countries like Germany and Canada are creating tech visa programs. How can African talents strategically navigate these policies to secure work opportunities abroad?
Okay, yeah, so most of these tech programs usually require some qualifications. For example, if you want to come here in Canada through the tech route, there is the STEM pathway as part of the, what do we call it, as part of the programs for the Express Entry program. And but the scores are quite high. And so generally, if anybody wants to come to Canada, I always tell them that if you are less than 30 and you have a master's degree, then your chances are really higher. Most of these tech programs, either in Germany or anywhere in the world, most of them require that you get a job first. And there's presently now there is RIP, Rural Immigration Pilot Program in Canada. If you're able to get a job offer from an employer here or anywhere, then coming will be easier. The only problem is usually getting an employer who is willing to bring you, because for anybody to bring you, if you are not in that country, then you need to prove to the government why the employer needs you. So these are just the software issues there. But if you are outstanding and you can package yourself very well, you should be able to get it for that. And then if you get some tech jobs in some provinces in Canada too, like BC, British Columbia, sometimes you can use the tech route to also get provincial nomination. And then if the provinces nominate you, then you can apply for the express entry. Sometimes they will need you to have an express entry profile. Sometimes they may not need it. And then when you get the permanent residency, you have to be in the province for at least 2 or 3 years before you get your passport, and then you can move to wherever you want to move for. So generally, most of these moving into tech in different countries require that you get the summaries that you need to get a job offer. And then to get a job offer, you have to be extremely outstanding, because there are so many people in that country who are still looking for jobs. So why should they hire you? These are the questions I tell my clients. If you say, I want to get a job abroad? The question is, if I'm abroad and I have a lot of people around me here in Montreal who have not gotten job, so why should I leave them and hire you in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Namibia, or anywhere? Why should I bring you here and leave those that are around me? Which is more easier in terms of cost? Hiring somebody who is already in the country, or hiring somebody who is outside the country. Of course, hiring somebody who is outside the country is much more expensive for the employer and also for the person. So that's why a lot of people first go to every country first, and then do whatever they want to do. For example, my own role, I know that I don't want to be in the academia, but I know that I want to have a PhD, which I've gotten. Immediately prior to finishing my PhD, I asked myself, what do I want to do next? I know I want to get into the industry. And so I asked, what kind of industry can I get to that looks exactly like what I've been doing before, just like Dr. Finn said, that looks like what I've been doing before: leadership, inspiring people, giving people ginger to jackpot. I see that project management aligns 100% with what I've been doing before. So I have to go write the certification straight up. I wrote the professional Scrum Master certification. I wrote the PMP certification. It was easy for me because these were the things I've been doing before. I've been directing projects. I have a team of over 50 persons working different places in the world, where we're helping people get admission, scholarship, move from one place to another. So I know how to direct, I know how to coordinate projects, I know how to coordinate people, I know how to talk to people, I know how to communicate. All of those things are part of the things I've been doing before. So to move to project management as an engineer was not a problem for me. So imagine, how can if an employer has somebody like me, and you say, you who is in Nigeria or anywhere, or Kenya, you want to get a project management job, who would they hire between you and me? It's me, because I'm here in the country. So for them to leave people like us who have a PhD already and then move into project management, that's a leverage for us already. So I'm just being honest here with this conversation, because I'm a very free person. I like to see it as it is. So if you want to get a tech job anywhere in the world, if for them to leave the people in that country and come to you, then you must be extremely exceptional. You must be extremely exceptional. This is the context. So if you want to get those kind of things, be exceptional, and then start looking for places where they, where they talk about it. Check, if you want to come to Canada specifically, check provincial nominations in different provinces in Canada. Canada is about 8 or 9 provinces. Check provinces that uses tech routes to come to Canada. Look for employers. Some of those provinces have list of employers on their provincial website, where you can now see list of employers currently, and send mail to them. My personal assistant, by the grace of God, moved to Canada, got a job here. By the grace of God, I helped her. The family is now a permanent resident in less than 2 years. Last year, she was working with me. This year, she's now a permanent resident of Canada, because she was able to find an employer. The husband had to come here, find an employer, then got a job. After the job, they applied for a permanent residency, and then they are now permanent resident of Canada. So it's as migrating everywhere through job. It just requires that you get the correct information, you get the correct people, just like Dr. Finn said, and then you navigate the complexities of the information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ludayo. I'm going to jump straight to Fiona. You've been an advocate for talent and customer experience. What are some key lessons African professionals should carry into global markets to stand out? Oh, I think She dropped off. So I'm going to ask Janet while Fiona is coming back in. How can African professionals leverage online platforms to showcase their skills and expertise?
Great. Oh, wow. I feel like through and through the conversation, every speaker has done justice in answering that. So I'll be very brief when it comes to adding a few pointers that some of you might have missed out. I usually say this. Everyone has a personal brand. Even the one who just created a page yesterday, and then you added your photo, you added your name, you added your bio. That is your personal brand. You have an identity. But not everyone can build a powerful brand. And it's okay. We can't all be number ones. We need someone to be number 20. But there is something you know that the number one doesn't know. So I'll give you a blueprint on how I usually look at how Janet Machuka as a professional can leverage the online platform. And this works across the industries. I know most of them to conversation, but the funny thing is that you can do all that, but it becomes very hard for you to actually get the numbers growing, to actually get the conversation growing. Something that I had to do, because I feel like everyone has something to teach someone. Even if you just started today, there's some experience you have in that particular field that you can teach someone who is maybe looking up to learning from you, or even who is looking at you as the mentor. When I was starting, and remember, most of the times we learn before we can get into now that space of I really want to specifically grow myself and teach the next generation. When I was starting, it was very hard. So what I decided to do, I sat down and mapped out people that I can look up to as my mentors. By the way, even if you are a billionaire, they have their own community mates who mentor them in one way or the other. It's not a must you just have one mentor. You can have so many people as your mentors, in that you learn one or two things from them from time to time. So I mapped them out, and then I decided, since building myself all the time will be very hard, why not leverage their presence? And that is where collaboration comes in handy. Everyone talks about collaboration. Collaboration doesn't have to be, last year I collaborated with Glacier magazine and so people should know about it. Digital moves very fast. Today's conversation is next week's, ancient story. So how do you show up from time to time? Collaboration should be with intention. Don't just collaborate for the sake of, this is just another conversation. What are you going to actually share? Remember this, the second question that I was being asked was around how can you amplify the African stories? Your story is a story that needs to be alive. Even if after death, someone will be talking about you. And the best way to do it is to live it with people. And the best way to live it with people is to impact their lives, is to help. And that is how they remember, and you become on top of their mind every time they start talking about you or they think about you. So for online communities, I usually say this: join niche communities. Communities that give you an opportunity, number one, to listen, to engage, and then to be given a chance to be listened to. So many people, every time when we are running conversations on these spaces, they might be having questions. But because of that fear of, maybe people will think I'm a fool, or people will take my question as stupid or useless. And then you decide, I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to ask my question. There is a Swahili proverb. We usually say, kuuliza si ujinga. Direct translation, asking is not stupidity. So please ask. When you ask, even if it's something that you think you might be looked at somebody who is useless, please ask. One beauty thing about communities I've learned is that the simplest things are the hardest to do. Why will you find someone on YouTube creating a video on how to open a laptop, and then gets millions of views. Like, honestly, like, why will someone watch that? Millions of people. An Indian speaking an English that you sometimes you repeat like 10 times, watching the same 1 minute video just to understand how to open a, a, a laptop. But it's not something that they do just for fun. They're helping someone. That is why we usually say this. The beauty about building people in your circle and building yourself is not to ask the hardest question.
Thank you very much, Janet, for that answer. So before we jump into the rapid fire, I'm going to ask Fiona a question because she was trying to speak and then she muted. So if you have any questions to ask any of the speakers, you can just signify. Glacier Roundtable hashtag is trending #4 in Nigeria. So a round of applause for everyone. If you haven't dropped your thoughts, whatever resonated with you, do so using the hashtag, tag the speakers, tag Glacier. It's been a very exciting conversation. So Fiona, if you want me to repeat your question, and you have
No, no,
2
thank
minutes
you.
to answer it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll make it really short. So it will be two things. First one, I think it's Dr. Waka Waka who mentioned resilience. I fully agree. And I'll pair it with something else. One key lesson that African professionals should carry into global markets is the power of embracing what makes us unique. But also, while we do it while holding onto the strong sense of community that defines us, that we have as Africans. In global markets, we should stop hiding our individuality and start flaunting it like a badge of honor. Take a clue from our West African friends, not only Anglophone West Africa, but also Francophone West Africa. The, they confidently showcase their uniqueness, and I believe that it's time for us East Africans to do the same. I'm not sure about Southern Africans, but I think it's something that I admire about West Africans. So what sets us apart isn't just multilingualism or the cross-cultural agility. It's our deep-rooted connection to community and the way we lift each other up, the spirit of collaboration and this shared growth. I believe that when this is paired with global best practices, can be a game changer. So let's not only showcase our talents, but also remind the world that success is richer when it's shared. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fiona. Someone in the audience raise up their hand to ask a question. Fully El Presidente, I've sent you an invitation to speak. So if you could quickly ask your question, and then we'll jump right into the rapid fire. Everybody, this has been a great conversation so far. My name is Cynthia, a food and lifestyle influencer here in Lagos. My question is directed to Dr. Fain. Please, you mentioned TechForce Connect. What's it about and how do we join? Thank you.
Hi, Cynthia. Thanks for the question. Yes, so TechForce Connect is a conference that we're hosting for people trying to tap into the global digital economy, focused more on Africans. But Africans globally, whether you live in Africa or you're outside Africa, to help you speak to people and meet people and hear from people that look like you. Connect to companies that are looking to hire globally, and even connect to leaders and people that are already trailblazers in the roles and the positions that you want. Because one of the biggest problems a lot of people face when they start thinking about transition is just, to Luda you said, is that they have people locally. Why should they hire you? So why don't you meet people that have been able to break this barrier so you can have the needed conversations to position yourself for this opportunity. And secondly, this will also be part of us helping to break the myth and show people the other side. I think it was one of our speakers, Fiona Jenny, mentioned. I also saw that post on social media about tech founders in Africa, and I looked at all of them. There was actually only one black person among the tech founders. The rest of them were Europeans and not Americans that have seen the opportunity and have come into Africa to invest. So if we don't start telling our stories, if we don't start networking and showing people that are trailblazers within the tech space that are Africans, someone else will write your story for you. And when they write it for you, it will actually be their version of reality and not yours. And that's why we want to host TechForce Connect, to help you connect globally and help in not just building the community and actually help in also finding the niches, because it's going to be on different areas: digital marketing, AI, technology, the media space, even career and support. Because as you grow through different positions, your expectation, what I needed to know as an individual contributor was different from what I needed to know as a leader, as a manager. It was different from what I needed to know as a director. It was different from what I needed to know as a VP. It was different from what I needed to know as a founder. And every time you are shattering a new glass ceiling. And in order for you to do that, it's easier to go with people or to stand on the shoulders of others that have broken this glass ceiling and save you time than to try to figure this out by yourself. And TechForce Connect is a conference we're hosting to bring global tech leaders, not just even in tech, but anybody that is contributing to the digital economy, so that we can all grow, whether through building a career or building a business. Because tech is here to stay, and tech will help you grow faster irrespective of where you want to be or where you're going to be in future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Finn and Fudio Presidente. I hope that answered your question. So now we're going to jump right into the rapid fire. So these are quick one-liner. I'm going to start with Dr. Ludayo. What excites you the most about Africa's digital future?
We are the future of Africa. We are the future of the world. Africa is one of the largest reproductive rate in the world. As much as we have a lot of mortality rates, we also have the highest fertility rate. Number two, Africa has the youngest fast-growing age. So I'm excited that we will own the world in the future for sure. It looks bleak now because of the obvious things that are happening. But I'm excited because we are the black is the future, future of tech, future of anything. We are the future. That's why I'm really, really excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go to Fiona. Same question. Something that excites you the most about Africa's digital future is?
Is technology becoming a true equalizer? We are no longer catching up. In many ways, we are leading with innovation that's grounded in African realities and our problems.
I'm going to jump to Janet. Same question.
From my end, I would say what I love about the tech space in Africa is that we are not just thinking about the innovation bit of it, we are also using it to actually take our power back, to take our position back, to voice the voiceless positions, the ones that we never got an opportunity to talk about, and also to challenge the Africans who are scared of investing in each other, trusting each other, especially when it comes to investing in tech startups, tech business, and tech itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Finn. Something that excites you the most about Africa's digital future is?
So one of the key things, or the main thing that excites me about the African digital future, is we now are able to own our voice. One of the key ways I kind of conceptualize this is that tech has helped us to democratize our voice, which means that the traditional media no longer owns our story and no longer owns the opportunities that we can create for ourselves. If you are able to give value or you are able to show a gap that you can solve, you can position yourself irrespective of where you are to be able to offer this to the world. And we are gradually, like I started, the first thing I said is that we're moving from that local mindset of thinking of how to sell in our cities, our countries, or our locations or states or regions to now selling to the world. Tech has made our customers no longer become somebody that is next to us, but someone on the other end of the world is able to get value from us.
Thank you very much. I'm going to jump back to Dr. Ludayo for a final rapid fire question. A must-have skill for anyone trying to break into tech today is
Storytelling. Be able to tell your story.
that's a good one. Fiona, I'm going to jump to you. A must-have skill for anyone trying to break into tech today is
That's a tricky one. I was going to answer. I was going to say storytelling again, but I believe that someone else just mentioned it. But I would like to emphasize because people relate to stories, people relate to things that you have experienced, and they might feel like, oh, this is something else. This is something that I have also experienced. So how is this going to help me? So storytelling will help people really relate to whatever you're trying to create in the tech space, if I may say.
okay. All right. Thank you very much. Janet, a must-have skill for anyone trying to break into tech today is
Storytelling, I think we have to repeat. We say this, that is the most important skill. Everybody needs to learn and how to tell the story, be it in terms of visual, be it in terms of the conversation itself. Because I believe some of us, the stories we were told by our grandmother, or the way we learnt our own teachings were through the stories. They will tell you, for example, a witchcraft story. You wonder, why are they telling you that? And at the end of the day, it has a lesson. They don't necessarily tell you don't walk out at night. That story itself will tell you you don't need to walk out at night in the village or elsewhere because you might find something. It doesn't have to be witchcraft, by the way, or finding a witch or anything like that, but they are cautioning you about staying out up to some maybe midnight or whatever time. So storytelling, we Africans, I believe that we know how to tell the stories, and because this is the only way that we grew, we learned our lessons, everything, we own it. We can tell it. So let English not confuse us and think in our local dialect. We can own our story even if it's in Portuguese.
Thank you very much. Dr. Finn?
Yeah, so everyone talked about storytelling, but I'll take it a little back. I'll take it a bit backwards, and I'll rather say problem solving. Yes, storytelling is key, but in order for you to be able to tell a story, you have to have solved it.
Thank you very much. And since you're still speaking, please tell us how we can reach you, your business.
Yeah, so you can reach me on Twitter on FNF Consult, and you can reach us at fnfconsultancy.com. That's the easiest way to reach. And for the conference, the registration's up. We'll share more details about it in the ongoing chat, but it's Tech Force, so instead of TCH, it's TKForceConnect.com. So techforceconnect.com. You could register. We still have some free passes to get you to access global speakers within the digital economy that are championing in Africa and speakers like myself outside Africa, the movement that are championing for Africans also.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ludayo. I can reach you, connect with your business.
Yeah, you just use my handle. I'm using this handle to speak. Yes, you can reach out to us. You can check my bio. You'll see the WhatsApp. We have the email. We have the call. We have the Instagram handles. We have everything. We have phone numbers. We have WhatsApp. Yeah, you can reach out to us via any of those means. You can just take the profile of this handle that I'm using to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Janet Machuka, I can reach you, connect with your business, join your conversation.
Oh yes, from my end, I will tell you something funny. I usually use a lot of the times. If you can't reach me on X, please Google my name. You all the details on Google. That's the kind of personal branding I've done for myself. So if you can't find me on X, find me on Google. Just search Janet Machuka and all the details. Even if it's the number, the info, email, you'll get everything there.
Thank you very much. Fiona, come.
I'm Fiona Kamikaze. Janet, you just made me laugh. I'm Fiona Kamikaze on Twitter. I'm Fiona Kamikaze on LinkedIn. I rarely use other platforms, but it's the same username. My DMs are open. I really like to talk about new technology. Passionate about my country. And I really like to connect. If any of you ever visit Rwanda, please reach out. I'd like to show you around and share a few stories or tips on how to navigate this beautiful and wonderful country. Thank you.
I can confirm Fiona is the plug in Rwanda. When I went to Kigali, she was, very nice. And I want to encourage everyone, just like Dr. Ludayo spoke about, Fiona spoke about it, Jenna spoke about it, Dr. Finn talked about it, connecting. The reason why we're doing this is so that we can give people opportunities to thrive. And the best way to do so is really networking. Ensure to register for the conference. Dr. Finn just mentioned there are free passes still available. Just quickly grab them while they are available. Reach out to Janet, reach out to Dr. Ludayo, connect with Fiona, get all these people to support. They are usually paid to speak at different, but they were able to join in for free. So we're very grateful for that. And we want to encourage you and to those people that will listen after now to take advantage and connect, and let's move forward so that it's not just talk. Let's move into practicality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thank you to our speakers. This has been very, very insightful. Like Dr. Ludayo said, Africa is the future. We're not playing catch up anymore. We are now. Thank you, Dr. Finn. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Janet. Thank you to Waka Waka Doctor. I think he dropped off. Thank you to Dr. Oludayo. It's been very exciting listening to you all and dropping serious gems on all the questions that we asked. The space is recorded, so you can come back and listen again. You can tweet at the speakers something that resonates with you or a quote that is said and use the hashtag Grazer Roundtable. And have a great evening and an amazing weekend.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.